Salvation, Peter says, is found in no one else, meaning, oh, you guys don't have a job anymore. For there is no other name under heaven given to mankind by which we must be saved. Furious. Blasphemy. Standing in the temple court, saying this to the religious leaders. I mean, come on, Peter and John are looking for a death sentence. Now, pause time for just a second. If you ever wonder why people follow Jesus, look at things like this. Peter and John saw and experienced things with Jesus that nobody else could explain, unless he was indeed the Son of God. Because why else would Peter and John stand in front of the Sanhedrin, put themselves at risk, and say the things that they're saying at risk of death, unless Jesus was who he said he was? Now, when they saw the courage of Peter and John, the religious leaders, when they saw the courage of Peter and John and realized that they were unschooled, ordinary men, they were astonished. Now, this next statement, I hope somebody says about me one day. This next statement, I hope that when people walk away from an interaction with me, when people finish a conversation with me, when people finish being in a room with me, I pray, I hope, and I'm trying my best to have this statement be what people say when I leave the room. And I would hope that as a follower of Jesus, that should kind of be our high watermark, is that people recognize who we've been with. But they sit there and they say, and they took note that these men had been with Jesus. These men had been with Jesus. But since they could see the man who had been healed standing there with them, there was nothing they could say. Nothing they could say. And so they had Peter and John and Ernie removed. They set them aside. The Sanhedrin huddles, and they say, hold on, what are we going to do with these men? That's what they say. Everyone in Jerusalem knows they have performed a notable sign, and we cannot deny it. This is a problem. They did it right in the temple courts, right in front of the temple. We can't deny this. But to stop this thing from spreading further among the people, we must warn them to speak no longer to anyone in this name. You guys saw it, Ernie's up and walking. We've got to just tell them to stop telling people Jesus did it. Miracles, sure, we'll let a miracle go. You can even tell people God did it. Let's do that, but you got to take Jesus' name out of it. Don't leave Jesus' name in it any longer. You got to stop doing that. So they gather them all together, and they look at Ernie and John and Peter, and they say, stop telling people about Jesus. Tell them Yahweh did it. Tell them God did it, but don't tell people that Jesus did it. And Peter says the best thing. Peter looks right at him and goes, you're not my boss.